What's going on, everybody? I'm Primalliquid, and I think it's becoming quite clear now I have a severe grinding condition which my psychiatrists and exorcists can't help with. So here's my 5th Overpowered video, this time for most people's favourite, Final Fantasy VII. Now, if you're new to the series, the idea here is simple. Using deep game knowledge and inhumane levels of patience, we get as strong as the game possibly allows us as early as possible, without any kind of cheating device. So please, no comments telling me just use GameShark or Cheat Engine. Also, I will not be pointing out every new materia or item available, only what is needed for this video. Now, trust me here, patience is going to be a very big thing this time around. So, let me just say thank you, Lord, for podcasts, YouTube and Netflix. Thankfully though, we don't have to suffer with RNGs this time because screw that guy. Selfish little plug here as well, guys, these videos do take an extremely long time to make, so if I could ask you guys to hit that like button and leave a comment down below, because it helps tremendously with the YouTube algorithm. Be sure to follow my Twitter and Twitch as well. For the comment, let me know your favourite moments from Final Fantasy VII. I'm really curious what people love the most. Also, remember to subscribe so you can see me punish myself like this on all Final Fantasies, including the upcoming Final Fantasy VII remake. That's going to be fun to break. Finally, a big thank you to all my patrons and members on screen now. With the uncertainty of YouTube, you guys make all of this possible. With all of that said though, let's just jump right into how overpowered can you get in Final Fantasy VII before you complete Cosmo Canyon. Now, if you don't know, Cosmo Canyon is about half of the way through Disc 1. We don't have a full party and the story hasn't really started yet by this point either. Doesn't mean we can't break the game wide open though, and of course, we're going to start this off with a good old-fashioned grind. You can do this later, and it is actually faster later, but I like doing it here just because I can. And that is getting the limit breaks for Cloud, Tifa and Barret. After the first mission is complete and you get a second mission to destroy another reactor, your characters are on a train and you get discovered to be Avalanche. Regardless of if you get caught in the train or make it to the last carriage, head south all the way to a dead end. Here there are battles with special combatants and you can infinitely fight here, so we're going to use these to get our limit breaks with all 3 characters. They do reward less XP than normal encounters in this section though, but they are easier and each fight is basically a +1 kill for each character, which lets you keep track easier as well. Now, what I typically do is fight until everybody is nearly dead, then I'll use potions first, and when I run out of potions, I'll use cure with just 1 character to spread the MP out. Anyway, now what we're looking for here is a total of 320 kills for Cloud, which is 120 to learn Blade Beam and 200 to learn Meteor Rain. And while getting these kills, you should use Braver 8 times to learn Cross Slash, use Blade Beam 7 times to learn Clim Hazard, and finally use Meteor Rain 6 times to learn Finishing Touch. Barret needs 80 kills for Grenade Bomb and another 80 kills for Satellite Beam, so 160 kills in total, along with 9 Big Shot UCs to unlock Mind Blow, 8 Grenade Bomb UCs to learn Hammer Blow, and 6 Satellite Beam UCs to unlock Anger Max. Finally, Tifa needs 96 kills to unlock Water Kick, and another 96 kills to unlock Dolphin Blow, so 192 kills in total. Next up, we need to use Beat Rush 9 times to learn Somersault, use Water Kick 7 times to unlock Meteor Drive, and use Dolphin Blow 6 times to learn Meteor Strike. Now, once you have all the kills, it can be a little RNG dependent for you if you manage to get the other limit breaks from actually using limits, because it depends on how the enemies actually attack. Regardless, once you have the first limit break for level 1, 2 and 3 with each character, proceed on with the game until you get to Aerith's home, and pick up the cover materia here. Next, Cloud embraces his inner woman and gets kicked down into a sewer for it. Also, as a side note, if you didn't actually know, Corneo actually means horny in a few languages, such as Italian and Spanish, so he's really living up to his name here. Now, beat taps and make sure to pick up the steel materia. Also, you can steal hypers from Sahagins in the sewer, which when used on a character give them the Fury stars. This means they take more damage but also earn limits faster, so get 3 of these and use them on your party. Now, onto the train graveyard. In the second section of this area, steal a striking staff from a monster called Eliga, a very good weapon for Aerith, which is going to last quite a while yet, and steal a ton of ethers from the Deanglo monsters. They sell for 750 gil each, which, while not really needed, is nice to have. Now, in Shinra HQ, if you're curious, I decided to go with the never-ending stairs approach just because I'm lazy and didn't want to backtrack for the elixir. Now, when you find the mayor in the 62nd floor, you have what is basically a mini-quest, but if you guess the correct answer the first time, you get the elemental materia, a must-have item for something we're going to do later. There is a trick here though, to always ensure you get the correct answer. Walk to the upper right room, which is the Space Development Research Library, the one with the blue floor and green shelves. Check the file on the left side of the middle shelf and see what book it is. If it's 2, Economic Report, the password will be best. If it's 1, Result of a Failed Space Mission, the password is King. If it's 1, Breakdown of Soldier, the password is Bomb. And finally, if it's 10, New Plans, the password is Mako. So, get it right on the first attempt and get the elemental materia, then move on. Now, on the 67th floor, we can fight random encounters here and they have some great steals as well. The first being Carbon Bangle from Moth Slashers, a better armour than anything we have at the moment, so get 3 of these, and a hard edge from Soldier Third. This is a weapon for Cloud and it's literally twice as good as his current one. After the boss battle with sample H0512, make sure to pick up the enemy command materia. Seriously, this is broken, and I don't mean early beta broken. Instead, it's going to be used for something else, which I won't spoil just yet. Continue on until we're outside Midgar. While outside, get into a battle with a monster called the Custom Sweeper, which appears in the dirt area, but make sure you have the enemy command materia equipped on somebody. Custom Sweeper can use a magic attack called Metra Magic, and we need the monster to use it on us so we can learn it. This is what's going to get all of our other characters their limit breaks, so pretty nifty to get. You can also steal the atomic scissors from them, but it's kind of pointless because at this point I would suggest using a party of Aerith, Cloud and Red 13. And yes, there is a reason for this, which you will soon find out. There's not really anything to do at Calm other than the long boring flashback scene. Just make sure you steal Tifa's underwear. It doesn't do anything for making you overpowered or anything like that. You should just steal it because you can, and it will 100% not be a thing in the remake. So when you get to the Chocobo Ranch, make sure to get the summon materia from the Chocobo outside. Chocobo and Mog is a very unique summon. Aside from the fact it can actually use 2 different attacks, it's also one of the very few ways to get elemental wind on your armor and weapon. Also, as a side note, a vast majority of the monsters in this game are actually weak to wind, so having that in your weapon with elemental materia pretty much doubles your damage for free. Anyway, it's time to get a seriously broken attack already. First things first though, we actually need to get one of the most terrible attacks in the game first. Make sure your character's levels are not dividable by 4. The easiest way for this is simple, just make sure their levels are odd. So for example, 11, 13, 15, etc. And then get into a battle with the little mole monster, Moo. Eventually it will use L4 Suicide. The monster isn't that common, and even worse, it doesn't like the skill either, so this might take some time. Once you have that though, it's time to move on to the next skill. Go back to the Chocobo Ranch and buy some Mimic Greens, then equip the Chocobo Lore materia and get into a battle on the Chocobo tracks. we're looking for exclusively a level 16 Chocobo. You don't have to sense the Chocobo though to find out its level. There is another way. You see, there are only 2 levels the Chocobo can be here, either level 13 or level 16, and a level 16 will always be with 2 monsters, either 2 Alpha Dunks or 2 Levricons. Any other monster or combination of monsters, and the Chocobo will always be level 13. Once you get into a battle with a level 16 Chocobo, throw the Mimic Green at it and then use Al4 Suicide. You see, when a Chocobo with a level divisible by 4 has been fed either a Mimic Green or a Silcus Green and then loses 31 out of 32 of its health, it'll counter with Chocoball, the skill we really want. Now, Chocobuckle is unique in that it deals damage based on how many times you have escaped. It also goes through all shields and barriers and costs only 3 MP. We can abuse this far more than you might imagine. There are only 2 things we can do with this. There are 2 things we can do with this, but I'm only going to tell you one of them right now because it's not the one we're going to do. You can simply flee battles 9,999 times, so it deals max damage. But a measly 9,999 damage is too low for us to really be considered overpowered. Instead, we're going with method 2, which you'll have to stick around for. So, let's move on to getting a more immediately usable skill, Beta. Equip a character with the Elemental Materia and Fire Materia in their armor in linked slots. This makes that character half fire damage. Finally, place everybody in the back row and give somebody else the Poison Materia. You can also use tranquilizers on everybody, which inflicts sadness. This lowers the amount of damage you take in exchange for reduced limit charge. Now, get into a battle with the Midgar's Alarm. Inflict poison and then just keep defending and healing. Now, when its HP gets below 1500, it will start countering with Beta. Once that happens, revive whoever died and finish the battle. Beta might cost a lot of MP, but it's strong, really strong, and it's going to come in handy when we do our level grind. Now, inside the Mithril Mine, equip the enemy commander materia on either Red or Aerith, and use Metro Magic to learn their limit breaks really fast due to this area having a lot of big groups of monsters. Also, make sure to use Hypers on everybody so they get limit breaks faster, allowing you to get the UCs required to unlock their stage 2 limits while doing this. Or you can do the next 2 steps and then grind on Mandragoras in the forests near Junon for maximum efficiency. Now, once you're done in the mines, go straight to Fort Conda and complete the battle there, because the first reward is a Magic Comb, a weapon for Red 13 that has double growth for materia slotted into it. This means if you gain 10 AP, materia in that weapon will gain 20 instead. I personally do this step and the next step before I do my limit grind, so I get double AP with Red and can work on a third character's limits as well. It's entirely up to you which order you do these 3 steps in though. Now, let's get another character, Yuffie. Go into the forest and run around until you get a battle with the Ninja Girl herself. At this point, she has a 12.5% chance of appearing, or 32 out of 256 chance. Once you beat her, you basically can't take your eyes off her or she runs away. So the correct answers for the little minigame are not interested, petrified, wait a second, that's right, let's hurry on. You can also steal a boomerang from the monster formula for Yuffie if you want, but I don't see much point because it's going to get replaced real soon, like next area soon. Now, a little trick here by the way, when you're in the water with the whistle to get on top of Junon, as long as you don't move, you can actually just use the whistle twice to get straight to the top. Now, make sure you get the second enemy skill materia in Junon from one of the buildings where all the ghosts are who teach you things about the game, which honestly at this point you should already know. This is where the Heartbreaker begins. When doing the send-off for Rufus, there are 3 items you can get as a reward depending on performance. 0 to 50 points is Silver Glasses, a terrible choice. 60 to 90 is a HP plus materia, and 100 plus is a Force Stealer. The Force Stealer is a weapon for Cloud with good damage and it has double growth for materia. We're not going for this though. After all, we want to get as overpowered as possible, so believe it or not, because we actually want the HP materia, give this to Red 13 in his weapon for double growth. At Costa del Sol, buy 3 platinum bangles. It might not be very good as an armour, but it has double materia growth and is one of only 2 armours in the entire game that have double growth. Next up, get the Wizard Staff in Mount Corral, a weapon for Aerith with double materia growth. And in North Corral, buy a 4 Stealer weapon for Cloud and equip it, then leave through the bottom right of the screen back out to the world map. This is the absolute earliest time we can learn Aqualung. Just make sure your characters have at least 1000 HP. The monster we're after is Harpy, and at this point it can only be encountered with a Chocobo. You can get it later from the desert though. Just to note as well, however, because I know somebody is going to mention it, the guy in the gold saucer who appears near the save point and sells GP cannot be found yet. He cannot appear until you get the airship. At this point, we can technically get Aerith's ultimate weapon, the Umbrella. This is her strongest weapon, however, is beyond hard to get. You need to complete the speed square with more than 5,000 points. I'm sure many of you watching right now know exactly what kind of pain this challenge gives. This was easier back on the PS1 due to lower frame rates and a nice little trick you could do, but on all modern versions like the PS3, PS4 and PC, it was unfortunately patched, so have fun with that one, have fun. Once you get the buggy though, it's time to really break things wide open. Drive south and across the river, head for the southern beach. This is the beach just near Gungaga. And get into a battle with beach plugs. Use the manipulate command from the materia we got from Kate Sith and cast a big guard on yourself to learn it. This is probably one of the best abilities in the game. It casts barrier, M-barrier and haste on your whole party. Now, drive back to Costa del Sol, speak to the sailor and go back to Junon. Leave Junon and get into a battle with Zemzalot, a giant bird. Manipulate it and cast White Wind to learn that. This is a party-wide heal that heals all characters for the same HP that the caster currently has. Now, go back to Junon and at the T-junction screen there is an alarm on the wall. Press it and you can now fight random battles in this area. Be warned though, these monsters are from Disc 2 and at first will absolutely decimate you pretty easily, especially the Sweeper monster. Now, double Aqualung does make this process pretty easy, just remember to save often and heal often. Also, make sure to rotate all of your materia in your double growth gear when it's mastered. The goal here is simple, level 99 and 3 HP plus materias. When your first HP plus materia gets mastered, it will create a second one for you. Likewise, once that gets mastered, it will create a third. The end goal here is 9,999 HP on all characters. And if you're lazy like me, you can use all the gil you get to just buy tents to use, so when you save, you can heal. Basically, you just don't have to go to the inn, which takes extra time. Once that's finally done, sell a few mastered all materials to become stupidly rich and leave Junon to the world map. Now, remember the second use for Chocobuckle I mentioned earlier? Well, it does guarantee damage. So we need to flee a total of 2,222 battles, so it does exactly 2,222 damage. Because a little math lesson here, we have 9,999 HP now, so if we use Chocobuckle on our own characters and deal 2,222 damage to them, they will end up with exactly 7,777 health, aka triggering what's known as all Lucky 7s. Lucky 7 is a unique feature in FF7 which happens when a character gets exactly 7,777 HP. Your character will then attack all monsters 64 times, dealing 7,777 damage each hit. And 64 times 7,777 is a grand total of 497,728 damage. Remember back when I said we could flee so Choco Buckle does 9,999 damage? Nah, I'd rather go for 50 times that. What's more, we could do this 3 times in a fight. Once with each character for a total of nearly 1.5 million damage. Now, obviously nothing is going to survive that. Heck, only 3 enemies can survive even 1 Lucky 7. That's Emerald Weapon, Ruby Weapon, and Magic Pot. Because of this, I can't actually get any footage of at this stage of the game showing off more than 5 hits of Lucky 7. And even then, that's only because I can get into a battle with with 5 monsters. So, unfortunately, we're a little out of luck there. But remember Whitewind, even though Lucky 7 resets a person's HP to 1 after the battle, we just need somebody to Whitewind it to instantly heal for 9,999, which means now we can just follow the exact same setup every battle. Whitewind, into Choco Buckle, into Lucky 7. It's just a shame that we can't get any final limit breaks at this point. That's fine though, we might not be able to get any limits just yet, but we can get some more great gear, like Auto Haste from Sprint Shoes. For this, we're going back to the Gold Saucer, and just a note, this step will take ages right now because we need a ton of GP first, and the only real source we have at the moment is the basketball minigame, where you can win 300 if you get 10 shots in a row. It's not easy at first, however, once you get the timing down, you can pretty much nail it every time. Once you have a nice chunk of GP, head over to the battle square, and I suggest doing this when you know you have quite a few hours spare, because as soon as you leave the battle square, you lose all of your BP. This step is really easy though, thanks to being level 99. We could technically use Lucky 7, but it stops at the end of each wave, and as soon as we get hit, we won't have 7,777 health anymore. So, we're going to blast through it with Enemy Command. I set up Regen, cast a big guard, and then just use Beta and Aqualung my way through all 8 stages pretty effortlessly. If you really want to cheese it, you can use Erithia because of her limit break that makes her invincible for a while. Before this though, speak to the woman at the bottom of the stairs at the Battle Saucer. Then, after you first win 8 battles in a row, go and talk to her again to get a pair of Sprint Shoes. Then, just repeat the battle arena multiple times until you can buy 2 championship belts, a Speed Plus materia, and a preemptive materia. This is all we can get here for now, before we get the tiny Bronco. So, sorry, but no Omni Slash this video because it's impossible to get this early. And because I know you guys hate it when I don't include the area we're getting overpowered before, enjoy Cosmo Canyon's Cave of the Gi getting destroyed like there's no tomorrow. So, let's recap, shall we? Before we got to Cosmo Canyon, we have level 99 characters, we deal at least 500,000 damage every fight, up to a maximum of 1.5 million effortlessly, more gil than the rest of the planet combined, a mansion in Costa del Sol because why not, and the realization we have a serious disorder at this point for so much grinding. And last but not least, the sad realization that we probably won't be able to do half of this in the FF7 remake, coming soon. And it only took 82 hours. Granted, the biggest time sinks here with level grind and the fleeing for Choco Buckle's damage. Still though, I hope you have all enjoyed this video. If you have, then be sure to hit that like button and leave a comment down below. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe as well, ready for the FF7 remake, because I will be doing a lot of content for that. And of course, if you want to get some benefits and help support the channel, then consider becoming a Patreon. Last but not least, make sure to follow me on Twitter and Twitch if you want to watch these grinds live. All links are down below in the description. As always though everybody, thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.